This is From Now On. I'm Lisa Phillips. Just a heads up. This episode contains discussions of online predatory grooming, sextortion of a minor, and sexual assault of a child. Some may find it upsetting, and we encourage you to take care of yourself. Today, I really want to speak to the teens out there, our beautiful youth, the ones shaping the world today, growing up with big dreams that you have all the power to make come true. Let's talk about some important things you need to be made well aware of as you are online. Let's dive into two critical issues that have been stealing the innocence and futures of so many young people: human trafficking and image-based sexual abuse. These are not just stories on the news, as most of these offenses don't even make the news. They're the stories of people like you, teenagers, high schoolers, and friends who just wanted to trust, connect, and belong. Joining me today is someone whose courage speaks louder than words. She's a survivor of these terrible crimes when she was a young girl, and she shares her story so we can all understand the urgency of this crisis and take action. There is an epidemic of human trafficking. So, human trafficking isn't what movies make it to seem, when someone just grabs you off the street and throws you into a van. Often it begins online with friendly chatter, charm, manipulation, some type of bonding, and false promises. Traffickers, who are predators, exploit vulnerability, targeting kids through social media. They may pretend to be a friend, even a boyfriend, or even someone offering a dream opportunity. Human trafficking of minors means forcing, coercing, or tricking someone under 18 into work or sexual exploitation. It's a crime against humanity, a modern form of slavery, and it thrives when you least expect it. But here's the thing: it's happening more online than you might think. Every conversation, every friend request, every DM can be a gateway for traffickers to groom their next victim. So let's also talk about sextortion, a word we all need to know. Sextortion happens when someone uses private, explicit images or videos of you to blackmail you into giving them what they want. This could mean sending more images, money, or doing things you'd never agreed to do otherwise. And it's not your fault. It's a calculated crime. Predators often pretend to be someone they're not, gain your trust, and convince you to share a photo or video. And once they have it, the threat begins. If you don't send me more, I'll share this with your friends, your family, your school, or post it online. So these predators, they target teenagers or younger, especially on platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, or gaming chat apps like Twitch, where they know kids are hanging out. It's a twisted abuse of power, and the effects can be devastating. Sextortion is more than a crime. It's a human rights violation. It strips victims of their dignity, their mental health, and their sense of safety. Our guest today knows this reality all too well. When she was just a girl, she was tricked by someone she met online. This predator manipulated her, blackmailed her with images, and eventually forced her into a cycle of fear and exploitation. She felt trapped, ashamed, and too scared to tell anyone. But she did survive. And now she's here to remind every young listener that it's not your fault and there is a way out. Her bravery is a reminder that victims are never alone. Organizations, law enforcement are fighting these crimes every day, and you can take the first step to stop it by speaking up. If you or someone you know is experiencing sextortion or suspect human trafficking, tell someone immediately: a parent, a teacher, a trusted adult. You can also report directly to law enforcement or organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That's cybertipline.org. Every report matters and could save someone else from being a victim. So, amazing teens out there, the internet can be an amazing place. I know that. But it's also where predators lurk. You need to protect yourself and each other. Here are 3 things to remember. Think before you share. Once something is online, you can't control where it goes. Be skeptical of any stranger. If someone's making you uncomfortable, block and report them. And talk to someone you trust. You're never alone, and help is always available. And these crimes are not just violations of the law, they're violations of our humanity. Together, we can stop them. Let's listen, learn, and fight for a world where no one has to endure what our guests or thousands of others have experienced. This is about you, your friends, and our collective safety. Let's break the silence and take back the power. This is From Now On. Today's guest, Summer Beach, was assaulted at the age of 12, the night before her birthday, by an online predator while it was recorded on a cell phone. The predator blackmailed her into a kink relationship. This led Summer down a dark path with very evil people, and the exposure to pornography that children experience today didn't help her understand this wasn't a safe situation, leading to further exploitation. Today's Summer is a professional actress, model, and business owner fighting against human trafficking, image-based sexual abuse, child sexual abuse material, and child sexual abuse. I am so grateful today to welcome Summer Beach to From Now On. Welcome, Summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited to be here and talk about this.
Same here. So tell me a little bit about when you were little. I know it wasn't that long ago, but when you were little, what did you dream of becoming when you got older?
I wanted to be a range of things. I started out wanting to be a veterinarian, marine biologist, and then I started out really wanting to be a writer and a journalist. And that carried on throughout like basically my whole life. I recently found a lot like in my heart and like childcare now that like I was an older teenager. So honestly, it was in a range of things. I always just wanted to be, something. I wanted to have like
Yeah.
a passion. For example, if that would mean art, writing, and then on the side a
Right.
career
Yeah, sometimes you don't even know what that is until you start living life
and get in college and
right, yeah,
it's so
things
true.
happen and things start happening to you and you find that passion somewhere. I get that. You're
Honestly,
still young.
yes.
You're still young. So talk to me a little bit about what your life was like when the grooming and the person that contacted you online, when that happened.
My home life was always very chaotic. I always felt alone, even though I wasn't.
Yeah.
I have two disabled parents. Not their fault at all. They
Yeah.
have severe health issues and didn't get the proper care and wasn't able to, stop working till goodness, I was grown. Like it was many, many years of, I would say loneliness. I was always lonely. I had friends.
Were you an only child?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My brother's 13 years older than me.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I did have nieces and nephews. I was actually an aunt by the time I was 5, so I spent a lot of time with them. But honestly, due to my parents' health and substance abuse, it was just kind of
Right.
a struggle.
Like you said, a chaotic childhood.
Traumatic, I would say, just because like I was kind of scared I was gonna lose my dad a lot of the time. And it was just kind of stressful, I would say.
So did you start spending a lot of time online? Like that was your outlet?
Honestly, yes. I loved YouTube videos. I love social media. When I think I was in like 5th grade when I first got on it. Because I never was really allowed to have anything like that. It was just YouTube. And
so you were sneaking it a little bit to watch it? Okay.
I was. And basically when I found out like about Instagram and you can have like this community and build your own profile any way you want it, I was infatuated. I went right into it and started like posting drawings and like fandoms that I enjoyed and just got kind of like, I would say addicted to it.
Right.
Like I know that's a strong word, but you get gratification, you get
right, of course, that validation.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
I didn't feel alone on Instagram. Basically, is what I always felt like.
That's interesting. So how old were you when you?
I started getting on Instagram around 10.
Wow, 10.
And then going into 11 and then 12. That's when.
Yeah, and so your parents didn't know you were
like
on
really
Instagram.
Toxic. No, not to the extent that I was. Not at all.
Okay. And you were just saying it got toxic, or?
Around like 11, 12 when I met the.
So tell me about that. How did that first come about? How did he reach out?
I posted a picture of myself in a Halloween costume. I was, let's see, I'm going to say I was 10.
Wow.
Like literally 10 going into 11 years old because I was born on November 1st. I always count Halloween as my birthday.
Right.
So Yeah, basically, he was like, "Oh, wow, so cute." And he sent me a DM, and it just sparked a conversation because this guy like really thought I was pretty,
Mm-hmm.
and he had interest in like a similar horror movie, or no, it was a horror story on the internet that I really was, I was posting about.
Mm-hmm. And he had a similar interest in that,
He did. He had like a
right?
lot of video games, just like stuff that I would say children would be, safe and appeal to.
Right, of
I kind of
course.
noticed that.
No, I was just curious, what did his profile look like? Did it look
Um,
like an older man? Did it have like
it had only like a video
video
game.
games? Okay.
It
Yeah.
was I would say barely active. It was only active, I believe, to like other people's pages,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because he had very few posts.
Okay. It's kind of like a troll account.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, his profile picture was a Halo
Okay.
guy, I guess.
So no
I'm
pictures
trying
of
to.
himself.
No.
Okay, but at first it looked like just a young kid that was reaching out to you.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yes, because the profile,
Right.
or someone like older than me. Because as we
Mm-hmm.
began talking, like he was kind of very eminent about like getting selfies of me, sending
Oh, is that
selfies
how it
to,
started? Okay. So
yeah,
what was
on top
what
of
was the
just
first thing that was off for you? He asked for a selfie?
yeah, I would say the
Just a
selfie.
regular one. Just
Yeah, honestly,
yeah.
that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
Was just like, oh, what do you look like? And I'm like, oh, well, you already seen a picture of me. You saw
Yeah.
me. He was like, yeah, but you were in your Halloween costume.
Mm, right. Okay. And
Honestly,
did you feel like, well, you were building a friendship,
Honestly,
right?
yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly how I felt like, or
Yeah.
even like another online boyfriend,
Yeah.
because I always kind of liked the aspect of online dating, because that way you ain't got to deal with them in real life. I was always
Right.
shy as a kid,
Right.
not very, I like to be
Mm-hmm.
by myself.
Yeah. And it's nice to
I'm
have that
wondering,
attention.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm
Hmm.
wondering if that's like contributed to it, because I've always felt like isolated
Right.
from like my community as a kid,
Of course, when
just
you're
because,
alone and someone's reaching out to you as like a friend to talk to, and
yeah.
you probably feel more comfortable, and you're thinking they're younger and they like the same kind of horror stuff you do or video games and things like that. So I totally get it. So you met this guy on Instagram, and then how long did it take before he moved you the conversation over to Kick?
It wasn't even a week.
Oh, really? Oh, quickly.
Honestly,
Okay.
like the conversation, because you know how like children text, they'll
Mm,
send like hundreds of texts a day.
yeah. So he's done this
Um,
before.
oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Mm-hmm. And
As
how
the
old did he say he was?
He told me he was 17, and
17.
then he like aged into 18.
And within a
And he
week.
didn't even tell me how old he was until he started sending pictures of himself and asking for like selfies.
Right.
But it was kind of weird.
So you could
He
tell when he
asked
sent
for
you the.
only
Okay.
selfies on Instagram, but then asked for like
Mm-hmm.
more risque pictures on Kick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he specifically was like, "Do you have any like sexy pictures, hot pictures, like
Mm-hmm.
bikini?" Is how it started off.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, what started the making me so comfortable with him was honestly just he tried to build a connection. He
Yeah.
tried to act like we were boyfriend and
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend. But he also tried to like role play with me, and I
Mm-hmm.
know like
What is that like?
honestly, basically it's like a sexual conversation. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's called sexting,
Okay. Oh,
I believe.
sexting. Yeah.
Yeah, he started doing that
Mm-hmm.
with me, and I was like, "What is this? Like, is this role playing?"
Right.
Because I'd role played before, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't explicit. It
Right.
was
Okay.
literally just writing for like a fandom. It's like a way of coping. You
Mm-hmm.
can write like your own stories.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you can.
Yeah. Fantasy
It's just a way
stories.
to cope, but
Okay.
basically, it's like that through text.
Right.
And he started doing that, and I'm like, "Yo, what is this?" And he was like, "Oh, yada yada. You basically just like role play like we're
Mm-hmm. Like,
having, like
oh, okay,
making love
gotcha. So is it
on."
all just words or is it also pictures with the words?
That's how it progressed into
Okay.
pictures. He
Okay.
just introduced this way of like expressing something that I hadn't been introduced before, especially
Mm-hmm.
like in that way where he's like, "Yeah, I like you," and really being flirtatious
Mm-hmm.
and trying to appeal to like my interest.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And you were how old at this time?
I was 11.
You were 11. He was how old?
He told me he was 18.
How old did you find out he was?
He was late 20s.
Late 20s. Okay, but
So now,
did he know you were 11?
yeah, no,
He knew you were
definitely
11
did.
years old?
No, he knew. He would ask me how school was.
Wow. Okay. All right.
It was more than proof. And
Did you know at the time where he lived? Did he live close to you?
Florida.
So nowhere near you.
Let's see. He was either in Jacksonville or James something, Florida.
Okay. But where were
Something
you at
with
the
a J.
time?
I was in Birmingham,
Oh,
Alabama.
so not too far from
So
you.
not too
Yeah.
incredibly far. It was hours away.
Mm-hmm.
Hours away. It was his friendship.
Right.
Like, honestly, because like I had developed before, I'm wondering if he saw like, oh, hey, she's on Instagram and she talks to people and like,
Yeah.
so I'm wondering if that's why he was like,
Well, he can see from your Instagram, from social media, they can see what your interests are,
no,
right? So they can find that
absolutely.
commonality with you and see what you love and use that to build your friendship. That's what grooming is. You know, it's not if it was a 11-year-old or 12-year-old, it's not really grooming because they're really the same age as you and have really the same interests. But when it's someone who's, you know, I don't know, 15 or 20 years older than you, he's definitely grooming you just for you to trust him, you know, to get to that end goal, whatever it is for him. So you move on
Exactly.
Kick, you know, he starts sexting and are you feeling comfortable at this point? Because you think it's your boyfriend? Or are you feeling like, oh, this is like kind of
I
not,
was weirded out at
yeah, weirded
first.
out.
I can't
Yeah.
even lie.
Yeah.
And that's when we just kind of like halted contact,
Uh-huh.
and then we still started sending each other like funny videos on
Okay.
Instagram.
So you stopped it for a while.
Honestly, yeah, for
Yeah.
just a little while.
Uh-huh.
And then I believe I posted another picture. If not, I like drew something.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to remember what made him text me once again on Kick, but he messaged me again and it started like a conversation
Mm-hmm.
about I think the Suicide Squad movie.
Okay.
He just wanted me to like do my like hair and stuff like Harley Quinn, but like I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to dye my hair yet.
Right.
But
Oh, he asked you to dye your hair?
yeah, that was later in the relationship. Like it was
Okay.
beyond that, but yeah, I remember that like just little things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like, oh, will you dress up for me like this?
Uh-huh.
Will you dye your hair? Like it was honestly like creepy things like that that
Yeah.
kind of made me get red
Yeah, red
flags.
flags.
But
Okay. So you started
he
feeling that.
did make me feel. I don't know. He just made me feel special. I
Yeah.
never saw like a healthy relationship
Mm-hmm.
between like a man and a woman. I kind
Yeah.
of thought it was supposed to be
Like this.
I know that's strange,
Yeah.
but
No, it's not strange. It makes sense. You just said it. You didn't know a healthy relationship and what
yeah,
that
like
was that.
I've always thought that like it was supposed to be like a toxic dynamic.
Oh
I
yeah.
really did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so he kind of knew that about you, right?
That's actually
Yeah.
what that's what we started conversating about was like family issues, health
Mm-hmm.
issues.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was struggling with a lot of mental health issues at the time,
So
and this just worsened it.
he was right there to help you.
Honestly, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was using Instagram for. Like art for, like reading stories,
Right.
getting into like YouTube.
So he knew you were vulnerable.
Honestly, yeah, like he
Yeah.
knew that I was using internet to cope,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of people do.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so how long did you just chat with him online?
2 years and like a month.
Oh, so okay. So 2 years and like a month. So
That's
it's just
crazy.
talking on the phone, texting, FaceTiming.
No FaceTiming.
No FaceTiming. Really?
Yeah, I just wasn't comfortable
Oh,
with that.
okay.
But
So it's just pictures and
yeah, basically just pictures,
okay.
like the pictures of me in a bikini, like even simple stuff like that. But once he got it, and
Yeah, now he has all this collection of pictures of you.
yeah, like really it was mainly the bikini one. He like sent me an edit. You know how like you can create
Yeah,
an edit
sure.
on these like little apps.
Uh-huh.
And basically he was gonna like humiliate me. He said like if I didn't send like underwear pictures or sexier pictures, that he would post that like bikini pic that I sent him
Uh-huh.
on Instagram, tag me, tag my
Oh
school,
my
tag
gosh.
all my friends. He's basically like he revealed that like he was following a lot of my friends. He was gonna tag my school and the location.
Wow. That's scary.
I freaked out.
Of
Like, I just
course.
remember kind of crying, and panicking, and I gave in immediately. Like, I gave in like so fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the first, how we got the first nudie picture was for me to
Because he tricked you.
Yeah, I got him to stop that post. Like, I was like, please, like, what do I have to do? Like, is this going to be posted anywhere too? He's like, no, not unless you start,
Right.
giving me what I want and, sex with me. Like, I like you, which was strange because you were freaking blackmailing me.
Wow. And what's the legal name for that?
Blackmail is actually
blackmail?
sextortion.
Sextortion, right?
There's so many forms of it: financial sextortion, image-based sexual abuse,
Yeah,
distribution, like sextortion. It can be child sexual abuse material. It's so complicated because it can be a predator like manipulating a boy by like behind a girl account that like they like, or just like even just any girl account. You can get any picture of a random girl on social media, pretend to be, them.
Right.
Text a little boy, get something to blackmail, kind of like similar, like what happened to me. You can get money out of them to get them to stop posting the picture or like sending it to family members, because you can find anything on social media.
Yeah, of course.
Because typically that's what people will threat. I even heard this at school one time, like someone was going to send, because they were beefing, someone was going to send their nudes to their mother, which was, I mean, honestly, like that's just one example of image-based sexual abuse.
And you're talking about just high schoolers doing it to each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Like saying, give me a sexy pic. If you don't, I'm going to.
Which shocked me. I was like, first of all, you're going to send your friend's nudes because you're to her mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're arguing with her. I was like, good God, this is an issue. It really causes bullying. Like, even if it is just children between each other.
Yeah, no, it's
like
bullying.
It causes such a ruckus.
Yeah.
But basically, he used the blackmail to begin this like really sexual driven relationship. And
well, that's when things turned.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to so many different types of like pornography.
So he would send them to you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He would even send me stuff like on Tumblr and stuff that was just straight like little girl and like daddy dom stuff.
Oh wow.
So
and you're now 12?
11, 12.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's
how like
traumatizing.
it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know. It was only 10 years ago.
Dang, it feels longer.
Yeah.
But honestly, I felt like I just accepted it. I accepted my fate. Like I tried to like not talk to him as much as possible, but I mean, he would text and just kind of say like, look, you're my online girlfriend.
Right.
So I was just in this relationship.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I stopped, he would send all this terrible stuff to,
of course,
my
school, friends,
anything. I mean, but little did I know he was already sending them and selling them everywhere.
Wow, how did you find that out?
The investigation when I got caught.
Okay, let's talk about what happened when you got caught. So this was going on for 2 years before you got
Literally,
caught.
like that's crazy to think, but yeah, the full grooming process, like from Instagram, talking about like video games, connecting about creepypasta, to moving it over to Kick, talking, blackmailing, creating the edit, finding Milo, everything.
Oh gosh. You found your location?
Oh God, yeah. He was like, I know,
your
like
school.
your school.
Yeah.
I was following like my school. Shoot, what was it? It was a sports team. And I know I was following the beta club.
Right.
And honestly, just the social medias, just to find friends.
Oh yeah, but everyone posts
because that's the only who I was going to follow at first, especially back then when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade. I was only interested in like following people like I knew at school. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it just kind of expanded from like going into fandoms, going into art, going into like writing and quotes.
Right.
It it got me into like so many different people. I mean, I ended up having like 1,000 followers at like 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But little did I know it was actually dangerous, you know? But,
yeah, because your account was public.
Yeah. It was always been public.
Yeah.
But, basically how I was caught was, I was told on by, it had to be either my friend group, because I didn't reveal the issue to anybody besides like my circle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for it now. I was mad at it at the time because it got me
in
in
a lot of trouble.
trouble.
Yeah. So talk about how that happened.
Basically, after being told on, I was called up to the office. I was told to have a seat, and she was like, "I'm tired of your name, getting called, getting brought up when someone comes to tell me about you."
Wow.
Because I was really struggling with like self-harm and stuff at the time, and like struggles with like my mom.
Right.
We were fighting. There was bruises and like injuries on me that were on it. Yeah. So there was issues with that, including the issue with the cell phone.
Okay.
And that's the topic that she brought up, and she was like, "I heard from somebody that you had a picture of a man naked on your cell phone." And she had my cell phone because it was confiscated. I got it. I was texting at, it was assembly or was it late Wednesday? I don't know. I was sitting in the bleachers waiting to go into class. Basically it was confiscated, and she saw the text message from this man, right? His name's Cameron. I don't care. I'll freaking say his name.
Yeah.
But basically I told him, like, because my freaking nephew, I told him I felt so personal with him because I just kind of accepted the relationship. I told him like, "Hey, yeah, my nephew's getting born today." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I want to put a baby in you one day."
Oh gosh.
And she saw that. So that was like her key reason for calling, I know, for calling me into the office, because all the other stuff was just about like cussing and stuff. But yeah, she got my cell phone, she made me unlock it. And they saw the messages, and they automatically called the police, called my parents, and it was the worst part. There was already like when I walked into the office, there was already a social worker there. The cops were pulling up. It was like the moment they saw it, they just called my parents. They came up. My parents were distraught.
But did you feel relieved?
No. I was devastated. I was embarrassed.
Right, of course.
Because basically what was happening, my assistant principal and my principal were just scrolling through the messages. They saw every part of me.
Oh, gosh.
Like they basically were just...
For the last 2 years?
Oh, yeah. They scrolled for like... they scrolled through a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie, like that's... to this day, it really does make me kind of sick, just because of how, like, could you just stop scrolling?
Yeah,
like, even my father got mad because it's like, can you stop scrolling through the
stop
phone?
looking. We already get the point here.
Like, they just give it to the police, give it over to the investigator. But basically, I was just bawling. I was embarrassed. I was already in trouble.
But why are you in trouble? Then don't they know that it's not your fault? That this is
back then, no. They did not know it was my fault. They fully was like, "You're in hot water. Like
I don't get
could go to..." Oh, no. In some states, children can get charged with child pornography charges if they distribute sexual images of themselves, nude images of themselves.
Yeah, but that's almost
and you can get put on the sex offender registry.
Right. No, I get that, but that's if you're just doing it on your own, right?
Yes, that
not
upon
if someone's
further
like coercion.
upon further investigation, they found it, but at first they were not accepting that
he was manipulating.
Yeah, like I
grooming
tried
you.
to tell them, and they were like, "Okay, well, that doesn't explain the extent of these messages and you flirting back."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "You don't understand. It's been
exactly.
since I was in middle school."
Yeah.
And when I tried to explain myself, they like tried to. It was a lot of speculating. No one was taking my word for it, and I guess it was because, I tried to not get them to look at the phone. Of course, I didn't want my principal to see images of me, so I'm guessing like that beginning of like saying, "Well, no, nothing's happening." But them seeing the message, it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't like getting in trouble. I never have.
Right.
Never even gotten a ticket.
And you also knew it wasn't your fault.
Honestly,
you know,
yeah, I
you were the innocent one.
deep down I knew, but I
Yeah.
just knew
Oh,
my
yeah,
social
they're seeing
life,
everything.
my
Yeah.
social life, my school life, it was ruined. I knew everything was going to get out because people were clearly already talking about it because I noticed something weird just in my circle.
Right.
You know, when something's off. And
Yeah.
but essentially,
But they were probably looking out for you, though.
honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's who saved me
Yeah.
from that
No.
situation. Like, this whole altercation. It was awful. It was sickening. It wasn't handled right at all.
Right.
I would say just because of the amount of people that were adults that saw me in that situation
Yeah.
and was trying to get me to admit things that like I didn't even know and wasn't taking like my word for it or like you know what I mean, like just
Right.
little things like that. It just I was like, yo, like I'm already stressed out, like you're looking at pictures of me naked.
Yeah.
I'm 13
Yeah.
at this point. Like this conversation has gone on for 2 years. You're not even looking through the whole thing.
No, to understand how it even came about.
But basically I was taken into, you know, police questioning,
Right.
not custody. I was taken in a police car up to the station, questioned, and that's when I feel like the real investigation questions really started happening.
Was your parent with you?
No. I was alone.
At 13?
My parent, yeah. Oh yeah, no. My parents were followed behind.
Okay.
Essentially, I was questioned. Really, that's when to me, the questions that mattered were getting asked. Like, how did you first interact with him? How did you start the sexual conversation? Do you know name, area, like what made you think that it was okay to send nude images of yourself? Also, we do think that this man is older just by his pictures.
Yeah.
So they made me aware of that.
Well, you didn't even know at the time that he was older? You still thought he was?
Oh, yeah. No, I thought up until like my father told me months later.
Oh, wow.
When I was in alternative school for having, nude stuff on my
so
phone.
Once they figure that out, they should know. I mean,
they did.
Okay.
They saw the blackmail. Basically, that's
good.
That's what made it a crime. But really, what made it a crime automatically was the fact that he was an adult and I was so young. They were like, yeah, this is a serious, like, you need to tell me what this man was trying to do. Because I noticed that when I got to the station, he was like, what is this man threatening to do to you?
Right.
And I basically was like, tears in my eyes. I was hysterical.
Yeah.
I was like, he's trying to use my pictures against me. That's basically what I kept saying because I didn't know what better way to put it.
Right. Yeah.
I even said that like he would find, my location. I told him that he had my location, just stuff like that.
Yeah. That's scary.
It was very scary, especially with just me being alone and everybody saw me get taken into the police car.
Right.
People were taking pictures. Oh Lord. But honestly, yeah, that was very traumatic.
Did the principal was ever compassionate about
My
the situation?
principal was. My assistant principal didn't even act like I existed.
Wow.
She only like confronted me once about it and asked like, how are things going today when I came back from alternative school? Because I was away at a separate school for punishment for like,
so you were being
60. Oh yeah, I was gone for like 60 days.
But you were the one being punished for it.
Oh yeah, I was in severe trouble
at 13 years old, even though they found out this man was 15 years older than you.
I had nude images at school,
but you were being blackmailed.
That didn't matter whatsoever.
It should matter.
Even if they're like threatening you with your life, you don't send it. You're still going to get punished for having nude images on your cell phone at school.
Oh, okay. Did he tell you not to delete them?
Who?
I'm just wondering why all the pictures. Why did you save it all? Weren't you scared maybe your parents were going to see it?
Or no. They saw it on through the Kick Messenger app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't never on my phone.
Okay.
Basically, it was the message feed.
Oh, okay.
That's what they found it on. But yeah, I was treated like a sexual deviant. I can't even lie, especially at like alternative school. Like I remember writing stories like in my notebook. They would find them and use them against me, even though they were just like fake.
Right. Fantasy.
Yeah, literally.
Right.
Like I remember I wrote one about like it was Katniss and PETA,
Right.
the Hunger
Yeah.
Games, and they like used it against me and said like, look, this is serious because of the reason that you're here. Like you can't be writing romance novels. You're supposed to just come here and do schoolwork.
Okay.
And
but
they
that's
basically sent it to my dad, told my dad that I was writing sex fantasies in class, or it wasn't even in class. It was on the school bus on my way because I was having a terrible morning because my parents were mad that they had to take me to a separate school. It was just a hard situation, but basically,
And how long did that last for? About
60 days?
only
40,
60 days.
60
Okay.
days.
And then were you allowed back at your other school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
How was it when you went back? Oh, yeah, gossiping.
A lot of just a lot of talk.
Right.
I stayed very close to just my circle of friends that I knew had my back.
Right. Good.
And that were like here for you.
Good. That's important.
You know what I mean? Like I just kind of stayed close to like people that I knew,
Right.
like people that I even talked to today and that who follow. Like I just was like, I'm just gonna stay close to you because God knows.
They're supportive.
I even had some girls that like, you know, because it's a small town that I grew up in. Some of these kids, we've been in the same school since second grade. Like, you know me.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the popular girls even came up and was like, hey, girl.
Yeah.
You know, what you doing? You're like, you okay?
Good.
I'm praying for you. Like, you know what I mean? Good. Like, just little stuff like that I did notice. There was support. There really was. But nah, I was seen as a slut. I mean, people even was like very critiquing like as the way that like I dressed.
Right.
Yeah, I was definitely, like I said, the social life was done.
Were you dealing with well, of course you were dealing with a lot of trauma from the whole situation.
Honestly, yeah, my behavior skyrocketed,
acting out.
especially because my thing is like what it really broke me was the assault on Halloween. It just completely, I wasn't even the same girl. Like I was acting out in school. I was fighting.
But what assault on Halloween?
Basically I went to a Halloween party.
Okay.
And I told him about it. I went to my local park, just was playing around, doing trunk or treat.
Yeah.
He drove from Florida to Alabama.
Wait, we're talking about the predator?
Yes.
So you actually met up with him?
Oh, yeah, unfortunately.
Wait, before you got in trouble at school? Oh, wait, let's go back.
So basically, yeah, he kind of just showed up because I'm telling you, he knew my location.
Yeah.
I mean, all you got to do is look up someone's town.
But yeah, that was the end game. He was going to try to meet up with you at some point. So what did he tell you were meeting up with him for? Just to hang out at the park or the party?
Just to meet me. He wanted to actually meet. Yeah, in person.
So he didn't say anything else?
Basically, I like said I was going to a Halloween party. Right. I'm like, it's crazy. It's already Halloween. I'm dressed up as Harley Quinn.
Yeah, gosh.
I was like a gothic Harley Quinn because I didn't have like the right cosplay. But yeah, I was there for like an hour. I'd already gone trick-or-treating in my own neighborhood with my friends at home.
Right.
And basically I hitched a ride with one of the other friends' parents because they were going to drop them off at the trunk or treat at the park. I mean, it was kind of like, I would say, a boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic.
Right, yeah.
But it really wasn't. It was like a sex object and predator dynamic.
Well,
like,
you didn't know at the time.
No, I really didn't. Yeah. And honestly, he did make me feel like at least I have someone to
Yeah, exactly. Someone to communicate with. I get it. So you arrived at the park.
Yeah, I arrived at the park and just goofed around. I was just honestly having a good Halloween for just a few hours.
Okay.
Went to the other side of the park where the playground is, swung, hung out. That's where all the teenagers bring their cars and they goof around. And some people were smoking and like basically just goofing around. They were taking pictures because people were in costume.
Right. So when did he show up?
I was hanging out with my friend Rio and I believe it was Amari. And basically this truck pulls up.
Okay.
And it's like at night. It was pushing 6:30.
Okay. So it's dark.
Honestly, yes, it was very dark.
Okay.
Because the time change.
All right.
Anyway, the truck pulled up and parked, and I heard my name get called. Didn't know who the freaking boys was
Right. Okay.
at all.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, "Hey, come here." And then I realized, I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, hi. I actually got excited.
So you were shocked he was there.
Yeah, I was shocked and surprised. I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, hello. Like, how are you? And that's how
Uh-huh.
we got to talking.
Okay.
And I'm like, where did you come from? Like, how the heck? He was like, oh, I was already like out and about. So I just decided to make the trip to finally meet you.
Yeah.
He was very,
What'd you think of him when you saw him?
he was older. He was old.
Much older than you thought he was going to be.
Honestly, yeah.
Did you say that to him? Oh, you're much older.
Not at all.
No.
I didn't. I was kind of like just shocked.
Okay.
Honestly, my friends were like, well, who the hell is that?
Yeah, I know.
Like, my friends were like, they separated themselves from the situation pretty quickly.
Right. Okay.
Until they noticed that like I was getting into the truck for a ride. Because he told me like, hey, let me take you.
Yeah.
Let me take you somewhere. Let me take you to like we can get food. We can get. He even said that we could get food.
Right. And you felt comfortable at this
and
point.
honestly, I did.
Yeah.
I thought it was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had the oldest like boyfriend, I
Okay.
guess.
Right.
But I was very weirded out. This guy was. It was weird. Like, he was just trying to get me into the car. Like, that was the only thing he was talking about.
Oh,
he really
gosh.
wasn't necessarily talking. Like, it was just, hi. You know, how are you? Like, I'm so happy to meet you. Like, we hugged. And that's when I realized, like, good God, you're like, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell if
Older.
you're
Yeah.
not,
Yeah. He's
young or not.
You're not 18 like you said you were.
But essentially, once I got in the truck and I told him where to go, he didn't go there.
Okay.
That's when like my heart sucked down to my chest, and I was like trying to say like, hey, I live down that road.
Right.
Why are you going this way?
Yeah.
So he continued until he got down to this. Jesus, I have to pass by it all the time. It's this like old railroad track place. Just a bunch of gravel, junky.
Okay.
He went over the railroad tracks, behind it, up into like a field. I was freaking scared. I thought I was in like an ID channel. I cannot even lie to you. So basically, he pulled up, got behind the trees. It was, I mean, just stuff like crumbling around us. Like, it wasn't even a road. We have like a very country town. So we went basically like into the woods. Crumbling stuff. Like, I mean, even like I remember the twigs hitting the window was like actually scaring me.
Did you say something like I'm scared or
no? I was asking them, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, and basically, he said nothing. Which, I'm gonna be honest with you,
that is scary.
No, that's what I was so worried about at first. This dude was saying nothing. I knew I freaked up by getting in that car. I was honestly just, I thought I was gonna die, but I was kind of, this is what shocked me about the whole situation, is like, I was kind of okay with it. If I died, I wouldn't have to worry about like the stress at home anymore. I wouldn't be like a burden on my mom anymore. I was kind of like, is this a good thing? Because I thought I was going to die. I didn't know he was just going to rape me and then like film it on his phone. And then literally drop me off.
What do you mean?
Which is exactly what happened. But it was the way that he did it, because he pulled up, stopped the car. The car was just still running. He grabs me and pulls me close, starts kissing all over like my face. He kissed my neck. He like kind of bit me a little bit, like flirtatiously. We just kissing me. And then like as he was kissing me, he was like holding my hand. He had one hand, but then he like grabbed my other hand with like, I swear to God, one hand. He grabbed it and he squeezed. And that's one thing that I'll never forget. He squeezed so hard that like my wrists were just together like this, but his hands were like it hurt. It hurt very bad because I was just, it was defenseless. I couldn't move when he grabbed my wrist like that. And the squeeze he was putting on it. I remember the pain just was so focused on my wrist. Just because of how hard he was squeezing. And that's when the rape started. That's when I kind of just froze. Like I tried to get comfortable.
Right.
I was screaming. I was like crying. I was begging him to stop. I was 12 and he did in fact like penetrate. I bled pretty badly, but really there was a lot of bruising down there. That was the most painful part. Like I remember the belt I was wearing. Like, yeah, that hurt my wrist. I mean, that they were bruised. He would just squeeze. And what's so insane, he didn't say one freaking word. I just started freezing because of just how forcibly he was doing it. And I was just wondering, like, won't they, like, doesn't, like, a man finish?
Yeah.
I was very scared. And that's when he pulled out the cell phone. It was just a regular old, I think it was like an iPhone 4.
Oh,
Same
to
as the one
blackmail
I
you
had.
now.
Oh no, yeah, he was just gonna rape. He literally turned on the flashlight. I remember specifically, like the flashlight
Oh my
was so
God.
fucking bright. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, of course. I would've
accepted
too.
that I was gonna die. I was just scared about like how he was gonna kill me.
Ugh. Well, what did he do with the flashlight? That bright
No,
light
the flashlight was on his phone.
Okay,
as
just
he
to
was
like
filming.
who's filming now
No,
and
he was
still
literally,
doing
I
it.
heard you know how like when your iPhone goes dinging with the little video?
Yeah.
I heard.
Ugh.
So, and then the flashlight came on and I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. And that's just when I started to just plain simple disassociate. I looked at the trees and just was thinking like, just it'll be over. Like it will always just be over.
Yeah.
Like you've seen this before, you know, ID shows.
Yeah, exactly.
So I literally just waited for it to be over. Like he finished. I didn't move. Like I stayed in this position. And I remember just the reason why I'm looking away from you right now is because that's kind of what I did. I turned my head and stared out the window for a good, it felt like forever, but I know it wasn't.
But you told the police about this rape when they brought you in.
I tried to come out about it, and my family they wouldn't let me make the report. I tried to tell my aunt is who I firstly tried to explain it to, and they were accusing my father of being the perpetrator. And I was like, no, I didn't say that. No, like you're not listening to me. It was literally on Halloween. And basically it started arguments between my family members, and then they would blame me for the arguments. They would claim like, hey, you're trying to say that your dad raped you. And I'm like, that's not what I said. It was not at all what I said. And then basically it caused me to forget about the whole thing. I remember specifically making stuff up just to rationalize it. I was like, yeah, no, I was kidnapped by an unknown man. Specifically, I would always just say, because I had to go into the mental ward like multiple times after this situation.
Sure, yeah.
I was attempting suicide. I was telling everybody like, look, I'm done. I want to kill myself.
Well, also
like my family hates me. I always felt like that. Sometimes I still do. Like I sometimes still feel like that little girl. Like, oh my God, my family hates me. They don't want me to get any help. I just. I hate that like I didn't get the right help, because honestly I could have gone to anywhere after that assault.
You
and
needed more
I'm
support.
pretty sure they would have noticed. I just kind of remember mainly I felt it was not being able to report it, not being able to get help about it. No one trying to listen to my explanation. Because basically when I brought up that it was, you know, with the guy that I got caught sexting with at school, they were like, oh, well, then why didn't you bring this up when you got caught? And I was like, well, my principal and my assistant principal was skimming through my nudes.
Yes, exactly.
Like I was in like complete shock. And it had just freaking happened like 2 it was 17 days prior is when that assault happened. And that's when they noticed severe behavioral changes in me. Like I was fighting, I was threatening, I was going wild, honestly. And I'd started cutting myself like severely. I'd started burning myself just to kind of like get attention,
Right.
like anyone's attention. Like I literally wanted to
Yeah, you were
mutilate
crying for
myself.
help.
Yeah, I swear I was crying for help, but like I couldn't say anything because my family was like, she's a serial liar. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to forget about the assault
Right.
and like essentially get over it. Honestly, what got me through it was making like just irrationally like making stuff up. I was so embarrassed about like the true thing.
Yeah.
Just getting in that truck was the worst.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was my
you didn't
major
know.
mistake.
It wasn't your
Honestly,
fault.
no, I literally just wanted to go home. It
Yeah.
was getting late and I was scared I was going to get in trouble.
But you see how he was nothing like a boyfriend. Like he was like
He didn't even talk.
Yeah, no, he didn't even talk to you.
It was just,
and that was
hello,
pretty
how
brutal.
are you? And I was like, what? How did you
Yeah,
get
no,
here?
he just
And
had
it
a
was
one-track mind of what
barely.
he wanted to do.
Oh God, yeah.
From the beginning, you know that, right? From the moment he
Honestly,
met
yes.
you.
Now I do.
Now you know.
Now I do. It took me a good year of like, I had to go to therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost like a whole year of my life. I was like between like 19, 20.
Yeah.
I did nothing but like really big, like traumatic therapy.
Good. It's so
To
useful.
get over this situation just because I did not face it whatsoever. I couldn't face it because people were like, you're lying.
Yeah. Well, they don't understand.
They honestly didn't,
No,
because
they
this
don't understand.
situation was insane. I cannot even lie to you, mainly simply because it started on Instagram. And I don't know if that
And
was
you're
a
so
new
young.
thing back then, but I'm like, I know this has happened before.
Yeah. Well, it's
Like,
happening a lot still right now.
Oh goodness, no, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like, especially even back then, I was like, no, I'm not the first girl this has happened to,
No.
and I'm not going to be the last.
I think it
Like,
happens to most girls on Instagram.
no,
They
honestly,
get DMs
yeah,
from these
children,
creepy men or
that's
these
what I'm
trolls.
saying. Even me and my friends talk about it all the time, just how many creepy men would message us. It's more when we were little girls than when we were now.
Yeah, it happened. I set up an account for my son. He's a basketball player. He was in 5th grade. And I was just putting his videos up. And I was shocked at how many men would DM thinking it was a young boy.
That is
It was me.
sad.
But yeah, there were so many DMs. And I would look at the
That's just
profiles
so
and it was always this
shocking.
man following older man, 40s,
And they'll
50s
follow
or more,
nothing but
following with
freaking
nothing but
children.
children.
Nothing but
It was so
children.
creepy.
I hate them so much. I mean, they ruined my life. Like, I can't
know,
even lie to
yeah.
you. It's like,
No, but you're
I
strong
hate you
now.
so much.
You've been
Honestly,
doing the healing. You said for a full year. It's like
honestly,
really,
yeah, that was
it helps.
so
It
much fun.
does. And look how strong you are now.
That honestly made me come to terms with so much. Mainly just the altercation, the assault was the main thing that, like, not coming to terms with it was ruining me,
Yeah, of
because
course.
I had so much trauma and like built up rage about it. And so,
Because you
yeah,
knew
I
it's
got
not
through
your
that.
fault, but everyone was blaming you.
Yeah, and I couldn't come out about it, even to my closest people. Like, I couldn't come out about it because they speculated that it was my dad when it wasn't.
No.
It was honestly a very frustrating experience because, like, I knew my family wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
They don't have, like, you know what I mean? You got to have that stability.
No, you didn't have it.
And we honestly, no, we never had it.
Okay.
But I remember, in order to get out after the assault and after the pictures, and even calling his friend to, like, basically show what was going on FaceTime, and, like, even offering him to come over.
In that
But
moment?
honestly,
So,
he was like, he actually just said it, and would you want a piece too? That's how he
it's so
said it.
deranged.
Yeah, basically like I was a piece of meat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he backed out
Ew.
again, just freaking the sound of the sticks against the truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. Yes.
And he backed out, and basically I was just there, and I was kind of like stuck in like this side position because I had closed my legs after he was done. He got up, and I just kind of
Yeah, in shock.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie, like, I just froze.
So you backed out, and then where did he take you? Home?
He took me, like, he kinda went back the way that he came,
Uh-huh.
except he literally turned the wrong way twice.
Right, okay, yeah.
Like, he literally turned into someone's driveway,
Yeah.
and that's when I was like, "Oh my god,
Like, you
oh."
didn't know where he was taking you.
No, and basically, he just dropped me at the front of the part where there was still some trunk or treaters, but it was mainly just, like, adults,
Okay.
and
So you were able to get home safely after that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I got basically hitched a ride from my buddy Rio.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I went home.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that you were really, really brave.
I
And
did
I mean,
not feel brave at all.
maybe not
Like,
in the situation, but that's a worst nightmare. That's a very scary situation to be
I
in.
was, I didn't
No,
want to
you're
be,
realizing this person who has pretended to be your boyfriend or a friend for
yeah,
so long, even though you know is blackmailing and doing and grooming you, and I mean you don't have words for that,
he
but
basically would call me like, his name for me was like fuck toy.
well,
And
that's so
that's what
boyfriend
I'm
doesn't say
saying.
that.
Like, it was like, I didn't realize until like
Yeah.
literally a couple years ago, like, hey, there were so many signs.
No, there were so many
It
signs.
was straight abuse. It wasn't
But it's
your
not your fault.
boyfriend straight up
No,
abusing you.
no, it's not your.
And it took me a long time to realize that it wasn't my fault.
Exactly, it's not your
Because like
fault.
people would say, well, you just should have put the
No,
phone
don't listen to
down,
them.
even though it would have been
Don't listen
an
to them. You
issue
were a
anyway.
child.
Because you would have. It's true.
You were a
It's so
child.
true.
Mhm.
But yeah, I got dropped off at my friend's house, walked back home. Basically, I went in through my window because it was so late. I was gonna get
In trouble,
in trouble,
yeah.
like, and I really don't think my parents knew that I was out still.
Mhm.
But basically I went up through my window and I hurt myself on like my window. It
Yeah.
was the screen. I had to like take it out and just, I remember just bawling my eyes out after hurting myself on that window.
Mhm.
But I was so, I don't know how to describe it. I was like in my own world after
Mhm.
that. Um, I remember like trying to like rationalize like, oh, I went to a party and it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I remember like just sitting there like frozen for like minutes at a time
Yeah, yeah.
after that.
Well, you're in shock.
I remember just wishing that I would have died.
Mm.
There was no other, like, I really, that's why I said like I didn't feel like I felt brave. I just wish that he would have killed me
Mhm.
that night. I mean, and sometimes like I still do. I don't mean it now
Yeah.
because of like what I accomplished and what I got, you know,
Right.
responsibility for. But like maybe like sometimes I do think like oh, he did kind of kill you. He just killed a
Yeah.
certain part of
Yeah,
you.
part of you, yeah.
But
Mhm.
honestly, I just remember thinking to myself like, dang, I wish he would have killed me.
Mhm.
As I was like disassociating in my own like
Mhm.
world, trying
Yeah,
to
just
be
to get
like,
out
oh,
of
I
that.
went to trunk or treat.
Mm.
And like the whole time, like I freaking had this sack full of candy.
Aw.
Like, and I was like, bruh, like I went trick or treating today twice. It was chaotic. It
Mhm.
was very chaotic. And I totally understand why I kind
Yeah, no, it makes
of
sense.
tried to forget that it happened. But honestly, there was no, I mean, the mental health problem, like my grades slipped.
I'm
And that was
sure,
something I was
yeah.
always like adamant about, was
Mm.
getting good grades to get into like Ivy school,
Yeah.
to, you know, get a good scholarship.
Yeah.
Lost it all, didn't
Yeah.
achieve it.
Mhm.
Bad behavioral changes. I started like hanging out with wrong crowds, older crowds
Yeah.
still, older boyfriends
Yeah.
still. And like still online.
Yeah.
Even after getting in trouble, I didn't have a phone for like the longest time. I
Right.
remember sneaking on an
Right.
iPod and just attached it to the Wi-Fi
Mhm.
essentially. And yeah, I was on Instagram, I was on
Yeah.
YouTube,
Well, that's
which
what
I wasn't allowed to be. So mainly I remember talking to my friends because I was gone. I was in alternative school. I was trying to tell them like, what are people saying? And that's
Yeah.
how I found out, oh girl, it was all the way through the school. Because my friends aren't going to lie to me.
No.
I'm like, thank God they didn't, because I would
Right.
rather, I want the truth. And she was like, yeah, it's all around the school that you were sending pictures of yourself to an adult. Like, girl, what's wrong with you? That's illegal. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a complicated story.
It's not
And
funny
that's
to
when
say, girl, what's wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with the guy, the predator that was
that's,
reaching out
yeah.
to a 12,
I
11-year-old?
remember she probably said it differently, but honestly, yeah, I remember reading it like that. It was always that. I
Yeah.
remember that. Like, it was always, why on earth would you do that? And I remember even, like, my mom was adamant about me apologizing.
To her.
Yeah, to my principals, to my to
Really? You
everybody.
had to apologize to
Oh
your
yeah,
principal.
and when I couldn't get the words out because I was like
Yeah.
shocked, oh, I got in so much trouble. She was
I'm
just
so sorry that happened to you. You didn't
it,
deserve that.
honestly, I realize
Well, I
it
think they
now.
realize it now.
I think so, yeah, just because I'm so, it's been nonstop that like I've worked on this cause. And honestly, I was so distant when I was a teenager. I was
Right.
hateful.
Yeah, of
I
course.
was just blocked off. I
Yeah.
focused on one thing and one thing only, and that was work. I got a job when I was 15 as a waitress. Work, save, and plan to just get out of here. I've always wanted to ditch that place.
Yeah.
That was my one goal. I was
did.
like, I'm
Yeah,
ditching
you
this
did.
place the moment that I
Yeah,
can.
your
The
support wasn't
moment I
there.
can get out of Alabama's
Yeah.
custody, I'm gone.
Yeah, good for you. You did it.
Can I do it?
Yeah.
That felt very good. That's when my healing process, I feel like, actually started.
Okay,
Was
yeah, getting away from
November
everything.
6th, 2020, when I first turned 18 and just moved out
Oh,
here.
good for you. So what happened to you, we don't want to happen to anybody else. So I
I
want you to
don't.
talk about how you become an educator and an activist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I found the community through social media. It is how a lot of survivors heal. It's how I figured out the severity of my situation, because people had similar things happen to them, where in particular the predator would record the assaults and basically use it for profit.
Wow.
I learned like child sexual abuse material, the market for it. I learned like how these risks have just multiplied as like technology has advanced along with the world around us. It's honestly dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous things that I would say children are facing, just because of what they could get into. You could get into a human trafficking ring. You could get kidnapped. Something like would have happened to me, or really even just getting child sexual abuse material out of a child is forever traumatizing, because it's exploitation of that child's body. It's sexual abuse, and it can be used against them, because people don't understand like the digital footprint of it all, and how like your assault could really follow you for the rest of your life. It will follow you until you're dead. It will follow you after you're dead. Your family will hear about it even if you die or kill yourself, because it's digital. It's image-based, abuse. It doesn't go away.
Can you explain what adverse childhood experiences is and why it's important for adults to understand the signs of adverse childhood experiences?
Yes, it is extremely important, basically because how children how they process trauma. They're not going to process it the same as an adult would, obviously. And there is a range of things out there that children are exposed to. It can be something on the computer that traumatized them. It could be bullying at school, losing like their home or anything like that, or honestly being exposed to something that their mind is not developmentally prepared for. Any type of toxic stress that a kid experiences, it can be within the home, online, within friends, their health even, can develop adverse experiences. And basically it lives within you forever when it happens to you for a child, because how you manage relationships, how you interact with your community. I've always noticed that survivors of adverse childhood experiences, especially to the extreme level, they're always isolated from their communities. It's not healthy for a person to be like that. But it also is best for the abuser, because that kid doesn't have access to
support system and talking.
That's exactly,
speaking out about it.
It makes them twice as vulnerable to adverse experiences if they are isolated. But the importance of it really stems with because adverse childhood experiences, they're the cause of many problems that we have today, like even when it comes down to crime, mental health disorders, any like form of like severe violence, they stem from somebody that experienced some kind of toxic stress that truly changed the way that their mind developed, because you're developing for a very long time at the beginning point of your life, up until I believe like my age, you're developing.
Well, to 20, it's
But
like
when
20.
you're a child, it happens so fast.
Yeah.
Or it actually is probably till later,
It's till
isn't it?
26.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But basically, it transforms your brain and how you process things in your relationship, how you can manage obligations in your life. Another thing is just honestly your overall health.
Right.
Like if you experience stress, you're way more likely to have heart issues,
cancers,
everything. Having that I call it the elephant on your back. That's what I like to call toxic stress, because it's honestly what it feels like.
Follows you around
and
everywhere.
It's different for everybody. You could have like a tiger on your back, an elephant on your back. It could feel like a range of anything. But that elephant doesn't leave. And it affects you with anything that you honestly want to achieve, like depression and anxiety. It can cause self-esteem issues, which can affect a range of things for a person. Adverse childhood experiences, if we focused on it more, we would be able to solve a lot of issues in our society. Like even when it comes down to like the mental health crisis that we are having, people who, have had no choice but to like get into crime, who were groomed into crime. I noticed that a lot of people in jail, majority of them really had a range of adverse childhood experiences.
Oh, really? Yeah, that
so
makes
did people
sense.
who committed like mass crimes. Honestly, we've got to focus a lot more on the mental health of our children and like the experiences. And
that is so important.
Honestly, yes. I really wish that was focused upon when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know. Same here. But you have a really good vocabulary from the space of digital abuse, and that most people are unaware of. Can you explain what image-based sexual abuse is?
Image-based sexual abuse, it refers to the wide variety of digital exploitation, digital harassment, or digital trafficking. It could be someone exposing like a nude of you and using it to humiliate you online, or even post it on like a porn website to even profit from it.
And you have no idea it's even happening.
Fake. Yeah. A lot of forms happen normally as a form of revenge. They call it like revenge porn.
Yeah,
they post it like after a breakup. That is referenced in it. Another thing is AI generated deep fakes. A lot of celebrities who do not, do explicit materials, they get deep faked by creeps online who then create like pages of them, create fake pictures of them, video. It's honest to God creepy.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes the people who they are deep faking are even underage, young. They don't want to be sexualized. It truly is a disturbing form because it seems like, oh, well, you're not going to give it to us. We'll just take it from you anyway by generating it.
That's so scary.
And then, like, of course, like sextortion, child sexual abuse material, it covers such a wide variety. And honestly, it also protects from those triggering words, like for example child pornography or revenge porn or deep fake pornography, stuff like that, because the person never did the pornography. It's just kind of a a broad statement for victims to have to
and this is
be labeled
a huge problem right now,
Honestly,
especially with the
yes.
AI.
Yes.
Like sometimes you don't even know what's real or not.
Even leaks, it can cover someone hacking into someone's phone. I believe there was a 2014 iCloud hack leak. That's who the founder of Foundation Raw. She was a survivor of it because she's an actress and an influencer. Her name is Udos Wallace.
Okay.
And essentially she survived it along with like Jennifer Lawrence, I believe Scarlett Johansson. Her like basically iCloud was leaked. And that was incredibly embarrassing and demeaning. Honestly, people were making fun of her. The harassment on top of just the exploitation of your body and privacy being exposed, it's shocking. It's caused people to commit suicide. And I feel like using these terms and getting people to like think about the vocabulary honestly sparks you know, a community to fight against these issues, to help survivors, rather than a community that floods and like fuels this abusive industry, this abusive community, this abusive culture to like continue to just become a like porn written society, I believe, because I feel like that's really what it comes down to. Is like, why are you so obsessed with seeing them like that? It's this addiction. But honestly, I don't exploitate someone because of it. I just think that's just so, and even taking advantage of sex workers, I even believe is bad. Like honestly, because I feel like they get the worst out of the online harassment, especially those who like leave the industry, who were groomed into it, trafficked into it. Some porn performers are even underage. I know that I was coerced into doing pornography underage, obviously, and it honestly it affects many people. And not only that, it could affect someone you know without you even knowing it. Like they won't ever come out about it. Especially a child.
Of course.
If it is just something like predator texting them online or them being exposed to even pornography and traumatizing them.
That is traumatizing for kids.
It is. No, no kid can fully understand that.
Why is consent overlooked online?
Because it's way too easy online to violate it. Basically, technology just expands the capabilities of somebody being able to like bully somebody, harass somebody, exploit somebody, or basically embarrass them, which is all the time the goal with image-based sexual abuse. But it also like further exploits like trafficking victims, survivors of childhood sexual assault, all of it. Like it truly there is no, I don't see consent online. Like I really do see like advocacy for consent online, but it's so easy to violate. Like you can block, you can, but how does that stop your public, your actual online image from being safe? That's the issue with this consent online, is that it can just be violated so easily.
So I'm a mother of boys. So what advice would you give to, kids online these days? Even older ones. I guess not so many are 11, 12, 13, but what is some advice that you have for protecting themselves online?
I would definitely have private accounts. The best thing is definitely to recommend to stay off social media, but that's not that's not
we want
really
to stay
feasible.
Off of it, but like
and
you
then
said,
on
you
top
sneak
of it, no, sneak it. And then on top of it, homework. You have to use technology these days.
Yeah, exactly.
There's really no way around it. But the advice that I would mainly give for children especially is to be open about talking with these conversations with your loved ones. Like, hey, do you hear about like these risks? Just kind of spark a conversation so that way you can have a comfortable relationship or a comfortable communication, somewhere to go about this situation. That I feel like is the most important thing. Because this uncomfortability, that's the problem. That's what makes kids not want to come forward. That's what makes them not want to tell the truth. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, of course it's embarrassing.
Honestly, it's embarrassing. And I feel like having sparked that conversation already before, similar to how like some of my in-laws have done with their son who acts and does like modeling and stuff. they're very open. They just talk about it like, hey, there's creeps. This is wrong. You know, consent is very important. A lot of girls get abused. A lot of even boys get abused because, you know, they don't know the knowledge about consent or like the damages of pornography and what it teaches the kids, like stuff like that. Just having the conversations and being able, I would just honestly, don't be scared to talk to someone that you honestly trust.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just having that open conversation with your kids, even just bringing it up so that you don't, something happens when they're 15 or 16, you know, and then you're bringing it up at that time. It's like start talking about it when they're younger, like 11 or 12, just letting them know what's out there.
I would say even when they get a phone or start, you notice that they're on social media. Like I even try to spark conversation with my nephew to make sure his comments are off on his YouTube channel. I'm scared. Like it's not.
Yeah. It's like my son on Twitch too. I'm always like, you know, asking him questions about stuff. It's like, oh, mom, of course not, you know, but the fact that I'm just asking him questions puts it in his head to be aware of it.
Honestly, yeah. So that way, just in case something happens, because they'll use threats to try to like get them.
Oh, yeah.
Or even like mainly just, I would say, especially with boys, the financial sextortion. Like they'll pretend to be a girl and then like use it against them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely be open and also be sure to like, you know, make sure you know the person. If you're going to be romantically involved with them, you know, in a relationship with them, you got to know them in real life.
Oh, yeah.
That is going to keep you the most safe.
Right. That's our rule. You have to know them from school.
Exactly.
Or
like
from
that
somewhere.
right there would keep them the most safe.
Right.
Honestly, just having open communication with a loved one and a guardian and, having to know your followers, knowing them face to face. Don't talk to someone online that you don't know in real life.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of times they can put any picture up there. Like
it could be literally. I had a friend prank me one time thinking that it was another girl, and she was like, "No, it's me."
Oh, seriously?
And I'm like, "What the heck?
And you don't even know. Like, how would you know?
You gonna make me fight her? Like, what are you doing?" Like, that was so weird, but no, it's that easy. Like I said, like the consent online and like your online image could easily be used in any way.
Yeah, in any way. How can someone be digitally trafficked?
Someone could be digitally trafficked. They could use your explicit images against you. They can upload them on a porn site and profit from them. They could sell them individually. They could use them to blackmail or like send to your family. They could use them to send to your job to get you fired. But mainly the digital trafficking really involves with the explicit material, child sexual abuse material, recording of sexual assault that does actually get uploaded onto many pornography websites and is then monetized for the perpetrator's gain. And basically it exploits the survivor so much worse because, like I said previously, that video could be there after their death. It lives on and on, but that is
do you know
how easily it could happen? Because even a deep fake revenge porn, all of it can be uploaded and basically used to profit against you. Basically, the perpetrator gains from your exploitation.
Oh, sure. So why are porn sites even allowing this type of material on their platform?
So many pornography websites, and most of them really don't require verification of those depicted in the video. Sometimes they don't require ID whatsoever.
Okay.
There's many ways around it. Like some larger forums, like for example, Pornhub, they've been, getting a lot of legal backlash and are having to change a lot of things. But other platforms, it is not like that. It can just be anything and anybody.
Just uploading whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
Nobody checks it. It just
no. Yeah, no ID, no anything.
Even as a brutal assault?
Yes.
Wow.
Like you can even put that it's a brutal assault in the title.
And people are looking that up.
Honestly, yeah, the keywords are disgusting.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't either.
I just don't get not
anymore.
Why you would be getting off on that kind of material and knowing that
it could be
knowing that the people in it or the children in it aren't there because they want to be there.
Exactly. It's like you can tell when it's like, ugh. It's just so disturbing.
But no child wants to be there.
No child, no whatever they always call them, like sluts or whore. They always just use a demeaning word too. But honestly, sometimes they'll even use the word like of the actresses or that they deep fake. It can be a deep fake. That's considered digital trafficking because you're uploading it and damaging their online reputation. It's very disturbing because you assume that your face is your face. Like, this is mine.
Right.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, in online, it just seems to violate bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
Like in real time.
Yeah.
But it truly has been a problem for many, many years now with pornography websites and the exploitation within the porn industry.
How would you go about talking to kids about pornography? Like, what would you say to them?
I would definitely go about that saying the first thing would be that it's not an accurate depiction of sex or what it is
That's what I always
and
say
how it
too.
is. That would definitely be my starting point. And then I would bring up just how actually damaging it is to just the facts, like just how damaging it is to your psyche, your sex life, and how there is exploitation behind like the scenes. And honestly, because you got to use age appropriate practices. It always depends on the ages of, you know, those that we're presenting to or that I want to present to. But really, I just want to like bring up the fact that, you know, it does risk, you know, sexual abuse because the main perpetrators at times of sexual abuse are children. And there has been a rise of it since pornography has been so easily accessible. Especially like in like you know, ever since we started to have phones and stuff, like the 2000s and up, it's just gotten progressively worse of children assaulting other children. And they do believe that it's correlated to pornography. So that brings a whole other danger to it. And I just believe bringing up that it's not sexual education is the first thing that should be covered. And then explain that like just like how like in the movies it's not real life. That's exactly what it is in porn. And that behind the scenes it could be very, very dark and very unhealthy and honestly hurtful to young children's like mental health. That's one main thing I would bring up is like some statistics about like the psychiatric like the relationship skills of those who watch pornography on a regular basis compared to those who don't. I believe that would be very very like a good thing to bring up. But like I said, age appropriate practices is something to consider, because if it's college then I would be like free range, you know, tell them, you know, why, you know, the effects of that porn, you know, has had on our society as a whole. And
it's very damaging.
Yes. And you can even tell it like everything is just so right in your face these days. And it's a lot for children to have to deal with that. It's not right.
Yes, regular TV shows and movies. Sometimes I'm just like so shocked at what, and they get so desensitized to it.
No, honestly, it's like,
no, it's like
this is
I'm
not
looking at
a child-proof world, and it's so sad because I feel like it kind of was. It kind of used to be a child-proof world, but now I just know it's not. Because I've even heard like, you know, bad things from teachers or read stuff about teachers, you know, having to like deal with porn and like moaning at school.
Really?
Oh goodness, yeah, it's gotten worse. I mean, like I remember that as a teenager in high school, the moaning out loud. Just stuff like that, you can tell is just because that makes
some teachers, of you just know they heard on a porn.
It makes girls uncomfortable. It makes people uncomfortable. It makes teachers, you know what I mean? Like that's not. It's very sad that we're seeing that with our youth. It really is.
Can you tell me more about your foundation and the work you want to do in schools that you're hoping to do in schools?
The main work that I really do want to do is definitely present to children the topic of experiencing sexual abuse and how that it can harm you greatly more if you do not, you know, reconcile with it and get healing and get resources for it. Mainly what I want to do is just go into schools and present, you know, common situations and mainly issues like against them, like for example the issue with digital trafficking and exploitation, like online, someone trying to coerce you, even a boyfriend trying to coerce you to send nudes. It's wrong. And digital, you know, digital consent is just as important as, you know, in real life consent. Another thing that I would honest to God bring up is like the legislation that are fighting these current issues. Like for example, the Protect Act stopping image-based sexual abuse from being uploaded onto porn sites. But I want to try to like relate the presentations to children. And like say like, look, I just want to like spark conversation. I want you to be comfortable with like your guardian if this were ever to happen to you, because here's how often it can happen to you. Here's how many predators are estimated to be online every day. Here's how often, you know, image-based sexual abuse happens. Here's celebrities who have been survivors of image-based sexual abuse. Here are the amount of image-based, you know, sexual abuse or like explicit abusive content is on pornography websites. Look at the toxic effects social media has had on our society. You know, take a break, you know, understand like your online image matters just as much at times as compared to your, you know, real life image. Is things that I would bring up in presentations. I have made a few, especially ones talking about consent mentioned before, and in particularly the effects that deepfakes have had like on the careers of women, as well as just the importance of understanding this risk of digital trafficking and how it's basically expanded to like where anyone could be a victim of such a form of sexual violence at any time.
It can happen to anyone.
But basically what I really want to do for my foundation is like support other nonprofits that like the Wolf Project and Foundation Raw. So bringing them up into play too with their own presentations, their own founders, and just basically have support like, you know, either whether it be funding, social media, if they need me to write articles.
Oh, that's great.
I do that, yeah.
I love all the work you're doing for education and activism.
Yep, that's really, I'm really excited. It's honestly been so fulfilling, but I'm noticing a change. I'm noticing an uproar in survivors, and I just don't want it to stop. So I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I'm like going to model everything.
We're not going to.
No, absolutely.
But I'm curious. Where are you in your own healing journey?
I'm using my work to cope. I've really found an escape in modeling. I have just loved it. I've loved acting. I've loved the arts, the clothes, the beauty of it all, the being in front of a camera, just being what I've always really wanted to be.
Oh, good.
That has been kind of like my coping mechanism, my escape, but also like I said before, the work, I've always just really found a way to cope through it. Yeah. Just because like I feel like I'm achieving something, and
I can relate to that.
Building a career, building a whole other career. You know, not only with like my college degree and like child development and trauma informed care, but also you know, for SAG-AFTRA and you know, modeling independently and you know, Summer Beach talent, because
love that.
I just
You're doing so
honestly
many things.
I've just found, I don't know, I found completion in like modeling and my work, and then like including, you know, psychiatric therapy, you know, once a month, and
good.
just to check in, make sure I'm on my medications. Of course, I'm a very big advocate about medication. Getting the help that you need. Honest. Oh yes. If I didn't have my, if I didn't get, you know, psychiatric help, I don't think I'd be here.
Well,
I really don't.
It's understandable with what you went through.
Thank you. It was a lot. I can't even lie. Sometimes I wonder, like, how did I do it? Oh, I just kind of took it one day at a time.
One day at a time. That's what I always say.
That's what.
Step by step.
I'm like, good Lord, this has been a long time. Because I noticed, like, it goes faster as I've gotten older.
Right.
It took forever when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh my gosh, it's December.
Right. Exactly. We're doing the process to heal. You're getting the help that you need. Yeah. So that's really helped me. And I can relate to you when you say, like, it's coping through work.
Fast. Yeah, and like work. I
Yeah.
swear, like that is the best coping mechanism I have
Absolutely.
found.
Yeah, I agree. So we like to end each episode with this question. When you hear the powerful statement from now on, how would you end that?
From now on, I will not wish bad things upon myself, because that's something I've always done and noticed that was really bad for me. Was like I would manifest bad things happening to me just because I always thought they were gonna happen. And then like my therapist was like, that's a response to severe trauma, especially when you were a kid. I would always just picture like, oh yeah, my dad's gonna die, and then my mom's probably gonna die too. I would always like imagine this stuff as a kid and just put myself in such a bad position.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that to myself anymore. I'm not gonna like wish that like that man killed me anymore. I'm not. Like I'm not. But yeah, that's definitely think what I would want to do, especially going into this year.
Right. This is a new powerful version of you. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah, and I see it. It's
Be real.
happening.
I swear I feel it. I felt it this year especially. This.
You have a lot of inner strength. I could see it. Yeah, you're going to do good things.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining me today. This is From Now On, and I'm Lisa Phillips. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and remember, there is strength in speaking out. And special thanks to our courageous guest, Summer Beach. Elizabeth Wyndham is our senior producer. Christopher Leon is the editor. Corey Wynn is our director of photography. And Jose Oriana is our studio producer. Our theme music is Many Worlds by Memory Theory. If you have any thoughts, questions, or stories about your own views on topics discussed on From Now On, email us at fromnowonpod@gmail.com. And please follow, rate, comment, and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If today's conversation resonated with you and you are seeking more support in your own healing journey, if you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, help is available. Call 800-656-HOPE. If you or someone you know is being trafficked, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Text 233-733. That's Be Free. PAVE is a 501c3 nonprofit creating a world free from sexual violence and building communities to support survivors. To learn more, go to shatteringthesilence.org. Speak Out, Act, Reclaim, SOAR, is dedicated to providing a safe and empowering space for survivors of sex trafficking to reclaim their stories and stand up for themselves and each other. That's www.speakoutactreclaim.org.